Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Freeman Motorsports for the first NASCAR event in 2023. Oh my goodness. I don't know about you, but I am so excited right now. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Practice is about to be underway for the first group for the Clash weekend. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Tate, how are you doing? RNXH Hood, how you doing? Angel, how are you doing? Oh my goodness. Thanks to everyone tuning in. Ethan, how are you doing? Welcome back to Freeman Motorsports for the first event in NASCAR in 2023. Practice is just getting underway here at the Clash. We got a couple groups going. If you guys remember last year, they divided the field up into 3 groups. This year, they divided it up, I believe, into 4. And yeah, on track right now. They're starting to turn their very first laps of the day. And they, I believe, have 10 minutes of practice. Actually, no, just 7.5 minutes of practice. And the clock is running in this group. Some notable drivers like Kyle Larson, Austin Cindric, others as well. Daniel Suarez, William Byron. And they're clicking down their first laps. These laps are only about 15 seconds, a little more, because it is just an 8th mile racetrack around the LA Colosseum. But man, I am so glad that NASCAR is back. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like Phoenix was ages ago, and yet here we are once again with the Clash to start off the season here in the NASCAR Cup Series. In this group, you got Buescher and, I was about to say Cole Custer, but now it's Ryan Preece in that 41 machine. I'm expecting big things from him in this event. If you guys recall, Ryan Preece last year took the Rick Ware Racing number 15 car and put it in the main event. He took a Rick Ware Racing car and put it in the main event. Yes, that is true. So I'm really interested to see what he can do in actual, pretty competitive machinery. Right now, though, Daniel Suarez at the top of the board. As you guys see on the left, there is kind of leaderboard there. The lap time should start to trickle in here. Yeah, currently it is Bubba Wallace now at the top of the board. Then Bowman, Suarez, Byron, Larson, your top 5. Buescher, Preece, Gilliland, Truex, Cindric, Ty Dillon, and BJ McLeod at the bottom of your leaderboard. Oh my goodness. I still remember a year ago this event, just watching practice, the first time we saw the next-gen cars competitively on the racetrack. It was so amazing to experience as a fan. Thanks to everyone tuning in, though, right now. Looking at the chat. Kenneth Clark, how are you doing? Yes, I will be doing the Clash tomorrow night, and I will be doing qualifying tonight. That'll be on a separate stream. Thanks to everyone tuning in. Yeah, so right now, kind of pretty expecting, your leaderboard's pretty expected. The results, it's Wallace, Bowman, Larson, Suarez, Byron, your top 5, then Preece, Ty Dillon, Gilliland, Cindric, Buescher, and McLeod. I remember Cindric, now he's down in 10th, but if you recall last year, he did really struggle in this event. He's actually now dropped all the way down to 11th on the leaderboard. Just a 7.5 minute group practice session here. So these guys just trying to, make sure all the parts and pieces are working on these cars. Good to hear that you're doing good, Kenneth. Hey, if you're just tuning in, make sure you drop a like if you haven't already. We got 20 people in here. We only got 4 likes. Hit that like button. Let's get it up to 20 likes to start things off. I appreciate it, guys. Everybody who's tuning in. You're here for the first NASCAR stream of 2023. Can't wait to see what's in store for the channel and the sport this season. Yeah, right now, I would just say the only surprises I'm seeing so far in this session are maybe Cindric struggling down at 11th out of the 12 cars on track right now. You can just see it. He's honestly going wide in a lot of these turns just to allow the guys behind him to actually turn some laps. And then Wallace, though, doing really well right at the top of the board. Now, he has a win at Martinsville in the lower divisions in NASCAR, so maybe not the biggest surprise that he is doing well here in this practice session. But I do remember last year he did make it to the main event, but struggled quite a bit. Now Bowman's going to go to the top of the leaderboard, though, with 4 minutes left in the Group 1 practice session. Yeah, your leaderboard right now, it's changing up but just about every other lap, but it's Bowman, Wallace, Preece, Suarez, Byron, your top 5, then Larson, Gilliland, Truex, Buescher, and Ty Dillon, your top 10, then Cindric and McLeod rounds out your group of 12. There are 3 groups of 12 practicing. Obviously it's such a small, tight surface that, they kind of break up the drivers into different groups. So that way they can actually get some real practice time on the racetrack. Ted Cruz, you're rooting for Bowman. Mark, how are you doing? Yeah, great to be looking forward to another year of racing here. Yeah, I can see you guys in the chat, in the poll, are all voting that you are excited that NASCAR is back. I didn't really give you another option than to be excited, but, I mean, what other option do you really have? I mean, I'm so pumped up right now. I'm kind of surprised that these lap times aren't coming over to the leaderboard. We'll see it. Maybe I'll refresh the page here real quick. Maybe that'll do it. Hold on here just a moment. I'm not totally sure why it's not popping up here, but I don't know. Maybe that'll kind of fix itself later on. But now Priest is going to go to the top of the leaderboard. Him and Truex actually both have the same lap time at the top of the leaderboard. And your top 5 are separated by literally just 0.02 of a second in terms of lap time. So the field really tight. And just like that, Byron's going to jump up to the top with the fastest by actually about a 1/10, which is a pretty big margin. We were talking about this small racetrack. And Truex is really starting to find some pace. Early on, he was lower on the leaderboard, down in about 10th. And now he's back up near the top. Buescher's kind of the one struggling right now. He's really dropping down the leaderboard. And if you do recall, both RFK cars missed the main event last year. They definitely don't want that to repeat itself this year. Yeah, now it's Byron, Truex, Suarez, Priest, and Larson, your top 5. Then Wallace, Gilliland, Bowman, and Cindric, and Buescher, your top 10. Then Ty Dillon and B.J. McLeod. As you guys can see, we got the paint schemes rolling across the bottom right-hand corner of your scheme. If you want to comment in the chat what you think is the nicest paint scheme this weekend. My personal favorites are kind of Ty Dillon and Daniel Suarez. That Daniel Suarez, that red, white, and blue, that 99 car just looks gorgeous. I know that scheme was ran last year, but it just looks great. And then that 77 car, actually I didn't expect much from it, but something about that NASCAR logo, those NASCAR colors on the side, I don't know why, it just does something for me. Well, we're coming down to the last minute here in the Group 1 practice session. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Justin BJ is at the bottom of the leaderboard, but his lap time is not too far off the rest of the field. Mark, your picks for tonight are... Oh, well, Mark, the main event is not tonight. This is just the practice session. The main event is tomorrow. Today we're just streaming practice because, you know what, might as well stream the first thing that's back about NASCAR. But, yeah, your picks are Priest, Kyle Busch, Chris Buescher, and Joey Logano. Well, so far, Priest is looking really well, and he was also one of my underdog picks, but... Oh, Priest complaining about an issue on his race car. He's off the pace. Oh, and it looks like Bowman also just tagged the wall. Maybe ever so slightly. Just gave it a little kiss. Also, if you guys didn't know, Corey LaJoie was running some laps for a promotion in the official pace car for the Clash event, and he actually tagged the wall just a bit himself. But that is going to be it for round 1, and Truex will turn in a quick time at the end of the session to go to the top of the leaderboard. Then Suarez, literally just 1/100th of a second slower than that lap time that the 19 put in. Oh, and then after Suarez was Byron, and then that was your top 3. We'll see if we can get a refresh here of this leaderboard and see if it'll finally update itself. Just checking. Sometimes the NASCAR website is a little bit, it's a little bit tricky. Here we go. Maybe this will do it. Well, I guess not. I guess we're going to stick to this screen instead, so I'll readjust for that. So that is all the time in Group 1. And if you guys are trying to watch on your televisions as well, the coverage will be switching back over to FS2 back over to FS1 from FS2. So yeah, there's your top 6. Truex, Suarez, Byron, Priest, Larson, and Bubba Wallace. And then lower down the board, you got Gilliland in 7th, Bowman in 8th, Cindric 9th, Buescher 10th, Ty Dillon 11th, and B.J. McLeod in 12th. So I wouldn't say there's anything too surprising there. Maybe the only notable thing would be Bowman kind of struggled a bit. He did miss the show last year, I believe. So, yeah, that's not the most promising, the fact that he didn't show a lot of pace here early on. Both of his teammates were up in 3rd and 5th, where he was back in 8th, and their difference in their lap time was about actually a 10th and a half. And when you're talking about a track that's only a 13-second lap, a 10th and a half does make quite a big difference. Your leader, or the winner in Group 1, the winner, I guess, the fastest lap time was at 13.53 by Truex. And everybody was about within a 10th of that until you got back outside the top 6. That's where you started to see some real fall off. Gilliland in 7th was about 18 hundredths off of that. And then Alex Bowman was 24 hundredths off of that. And then Chris Buescher almost half a second off, Ty Dillon half a second off, and B.J. McLeod half a second off. So really the 17, 77, and 78 looked the worst. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in qualifying, because even though it's not like qualifying at Daytona where if you get pulled, you get the front row for the actual race, that doesn't matter. You still go right into a heat race. You're just going to be on pole for your heat race, which I would say does matter. In every single heat race last year, the pole sitter went on to lead every lap and win the heat race. So that's definitely something you want to keep track of to see. Yeah, so whoever qualifies well is probably just about going to be able to lock themselves a spot in the main show. So qualifying does matter. You really just don't want to, mess up your qualifying lap and put yourself in a hole early on. That's the big deal there. Just because it is pretty tricky to pass, like we saw last year at Martinsville, especially more so the spring race than the fall race. And they have tried to make adjustments to the short track package, but the short track package has been really hard to pass in the last, with the next gen car. But thanks to everybody watching. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with your friends if you haven't done that as well. Oh, oops. But yeah, if you want to put in the chat who your pick is to win this event, or what are your big, bold predictions for NASCAR in 2023? Yeah, qualifying is at 8:30 Eastern, so I'm probably going to end up closing this stream out at the end of practice, which will come around 7:30 or so, maybe a little bit sooner, and then I'll open up a new stream at 8:30 for qualifying. Hippie Joe, you're rooting for Joey Logano here. And Group 2 is actually underway. They got the green flag out in Group 2. Some of the drivers in this one are Harrison Burton, as well as, trying to see else, Ryan Blaney, Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Harrison Burton, Corey LaJoie, Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola, Chase Briscoe, and Cody Ware. So we'll see what they can do here. We saw in the first group it took about 10-20 laps before they were really able to, start to really get in the groove and put down some pretty fast laps. So we'll see how their lap times compare to the first group. But yeah, also, if you guys are interested, last year there were a couple drivers that were trying to do some shifting when it came to the racing. And that was really Chase Briscoe and Kyle Larson were two of the big guys doing that. And then also you had Tyler Reddick doing it, but then he ended up breaking his transmission in the main event. Now that might have been just one of the early, part gimmicks with the next-gen car. But we'll see if that shifting returns here this weekend. It doesn't seem like many drivers are talking about doing it so far. But yeah, so far the fastest lap time in this group is set by Michael McDowell, actually. So he's looking pretty strong so far. Then Kyle Busch. Corey LaJoie with a pretty fast lap time here early on in the group. Cody Ware as well. Blaney, Almirola, and Dillon, some guys struggling here early on. Yeah, I think for these underdog teams, if they want to give themselves a really good shot at making it into the big show, if they can put down a good qualifying lap and put themselves starting second or third in their heat race, that's going to give themselves the best shot. Or else they're probably not going to pass anybody in the heat race, but in the last chance qualifier, if there's some chaos that happens, then maybe they'll be able to sneak in through that. And now we're looking at Corey LaJoie all the way up to 7th on the leaderboard. Man, he is looking really strong here out of the gate. I know that he had said that he expected, I believe, to be running in about 20th place or so every week this season, which would be a pretty big step up for Spire. And right now he looks like he's got some solid pace early on. Kyle Busch also now moves up to the second fastest in this group. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. We got 20 people watching. We got 12 likes. Let's get it up to 20 likes, guys. I would appreciate it. Oh, Ryan Blaney giving a little bit of a bump to Austin Dillon there. I don't think there's any, intent behind that one. So far, though, Corey LaJoy still the quickest in this group. Then Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola, McDowell, Chastain, Dillon, Briscoe, and Burton. Whew. And now we're closing in on halfway through this practice session, and Allmendinger puts down a quick lap. He jumps up to the second fastest in this group, 8th fastest overall. So far, these guys are about 1/10 to 2/10 off the pace the guys were setting in the first group, but they still got some time to make up that time. Ooh. And now as we're looking at the replay, Chase Briscoe giving a bit of a bump there to Cody Ware into turn 1. I think Cody Ware just kind of left the door open there for the 14 car to put that dive bomb in there. So first, that's probably the heaviest contact we've seen so far. We'll see if things continue to escalate any. And it's Truex, Suarez, Byron. Now Chastain will jump up to the fastest in this group. He's up to 4th overall fastest in this group. His teammate Suarez was 2nd fastest in the first group, so the Trackhouse cars look like they got good pace here early on this weekend. Then Kyle Busch now jump up to the 2nd fastest in this group. Dillon also making some progress on the leaderboard. 3 minutes left in Group 2 practice. Oh my goodness, guys. What are your thoughts on this season? Let me look at the chat. Anything you guys have put in? Mark, Blaney needs to put together a good season. He is really talented, has the best equipment, just needs a few breaks. More so, he just doesn't need a few bad breaks. Last year, it seemed like just bad luck really hurt that 12 car last year. He did show good pace quite a bit. 3rd most top 5s of any driver last season. I think that he definitely could put together a championship run this season if all things go right. Yeah, and that's the thing. To win a championship, sometimes you need a little bit of luck on your side. Justin, you want to see Harvick do good this season? I would say at least the majority of the NASCAR fan base probably agrees with you. Yeah, I would love to see Harvick go out maybe with a couple wins this season, have a solid playoff run. He's going to be in the next practice session. Hey, and Briscoe, they just talked about it on the broadcast. Chase Briscoe starting to do some shifting, and just when he did it, he jumped to the top of the leaderboard with a 13:52. And Allmendinger now also doing the shifting. He is the first one to break the 13.4s. Allmendinger to the top of the leaderboard with a 13.49. Dillon is up to 3rd. And now Hamlin's going to jump to the top of the charts with a 13.48. I think, as this track starts to heat up a bit, Harrison Burton with a bit of a lockup there. But as this track starts to get some more laps on it, some more rubber on it, I think the lap times will probably start to pick up here just a bit. But also something to keep note of, there is probably going to be some rain tonight, if not tomorrow, which could affect the race possibly. But most likely it will not. But what it will affect is it'll probably wash off a lot of the rubber that gets laid down today during practice and qualifying. So they'll probably have a green track tomorrow. And Chastain is going to jump up to the top of the leaderboard with a 13.44. Man, these guys, they're finding an extra couple tenths here in this second group. The final minute of practice, about 3 more laps for everybody. And now Briscoe's going to jump up to, or McDowell's going to jump up to 2nd place. Michael McDowell with a pretty good lap time there. And Chastain's going to go and run an even faster lap with a 13.41. That one car, he's looking strong, man. I know they've outlawed the Hail Melon, but if there's a track to try and pull a Hail Melon on, it would probably be the Clash. Basically a mini Martinsville. I know. If they ran rain tires tomorrow, that would be, oh, that'd be a sight, man. Everybody doing their final laps here in group practice number 2. And we are going to go look at your final leaderboard here. Ryan Blaney's going to jump to the top of the charts. So now Ryan Blaney on top of the leaderboard. There you go, Mark. Blaney looking like he's got some good pace here early on. So now it's Blaney, Chastain, McDowell, Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, AJ Allmendinger, your top 7, all from the second group practice. And then if you go a little bit further down the leaderboard, Austin Dillon in 8th in this practice session, Harrison Burton in 9th, and then Corey LaJoie in 10th, Cody Ware, I believe, in 11th, and then in 12th. Not quite sure. Oh, I think Cody Ware was 12th. Eric Almirola was in 10th. Corey LaJoie was in 11th. Cody Ware in 12th. So LaJoie looked like he had some good pace early on. It seems though he wasn't able to find the same gears or the same speed that everybody else was getting there towards the end of the session. But your overall leaderboard now looks like Blaney, Chastain, McDowell, Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Hamlin, Allmendinger, Truex, Dillon, Suarez, Byron, Burton, Preece, Larson, Wallace, Almirola, LaJoie, Gilliland, Cody Ware, Bowman, Cindric, Buescher, Ty Dillon, McLeod, and Kes. Oh, yeah, that's your top 24 there. In this final group of cars to go, we're going to have Keselowski, Stenhouse, Logano, Haley, and just about anybody else I haven't mentioned yet. I believe Kevin Harvick as well. Chase Elliott. Thanks, everybody, tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Century 17. How you doing, guys? Check out his channel if you are a fan of the MLB at all, or if you're a fan of those imperialism videos. Maybe you even saw his. You should check out his channel. Mark Chastain will be a force to reckon with. He is very confident, runs hard, takes no prisoners. Should be exciting to watch him chase the championship. I know. I'm very interested to see how he does this year. I personally was kind of going into the season thinking that Trackhouse, surprisingly, might take a step back because, honestly, just them only having 2 cars, I guess kind of limited operations in some sense compared to teams like Hendrick and Gibbs. I was thinking that Hendrick and Gibbs would be able to kind of take a little bit of a step forward with this next-gen car, and I thought that the Trackhouse cars would probably plateau just a bit, and that might hinder their performance this year. But so far in this practice session, both Trackhouse cars looking really strong. Thanks, everybody watching, though. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Woo. But yeah, we'll be live with qualifying later tonight as well as the main event tomorrow. But Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs will, I believe, both be in this final group. So we'll be seeing the 2 guys that will be going at it for the Rookie of the Year honors this year in this final group. Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited for that battle. Let me know, guys. Are you Team Gragson or are you Team Gibbs in the chat? Gragson or Gibbs? I have a feeling that might be pretty lopsided. So here comes our final group of practice. Whew. Calvin 03 Racing this season is going to be crazy. I know. I really have not even the slightest clue of what to expect this year. And practice group number 3 is underway as those guys are turning their first laps. Hey, guys, we're almost up to 20 likes, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. You know the drill. Let's get to 3,150 subscribers, guys. 3,150. Let's get it. Oh. somebody get in the wall there maybe a little bit in there. Off of turn 4, not quite sure who we were riding on board with, but somebody had to get out of the throttle quite a bit. But your defending winner of this event, Joey Logano, out on track, turning some laps right now. And just behind him, Justin Haley, the underdog story of last year's event until Kyle Larson put him into the wall. I think a lot of people have Haley pegged as an underdog for this weekend's event. And I definitely would agree with that. Showed a lot of promise in this event last year, and honestly, I don't see any reason why he can't follow that up with a good performance again this year. So these guys are just working on figuring out this track right now. And, Gregson giving a bit of a bump to Tyler Reddick there. And Chase Elliott going to be going by Gregson. And Brad Keselowski looks like he is struggling off the pace here early on. Not a good sign for those RFK cars. They really both missed it this weekend last year, and things are not looking too different here today. History might just repeat itself. Yeah, now we're going to go take a quick gander at the leaderboard. Anybody running some quick lap times here early on in this group? So far, the fastest is Tyler Reddick, who was doing well in this event last year. Justin Haley with a good lap time. Gibbs, Elliott, Jones. Thanks to everybody watching right now. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Mark, do they qualify on time or do they run heat races, etc.? So they will qualify on time for their position in the heat race. Then the heat races will actually set the field for the main event. So it's like double qualifying in a sense. Yeah, qualifying will be later tonight at 8:30 Eastern, so in about 2 hours. Carlos, yes, undoubtedly Chastain is a contender for this year's championship. Hashtag Trackhouse. So far, the fastest in this group, still Tyler Reddick, and we'll see. So far, though, these guys are not finding the same pace as the earlier two groups. And right now, some guys struggling in this group are, as I said, Keselowski. Joey Logano, the defending winner, is the second slowest car in this group so far. Also, I believe all these groups are going to be going out on track once again. Each group gets 2 8-minute practice sessions. So after this round of practice, we are going to just cycle in to the whole groups of 3 going again. Mark Rukowski, like the way you display the new race cars in order. I was just trying to think of something new to add. Yeah, I think we're going to actually add a little bit more even for tomorrow. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's also to kind of keep something for you guys to see, like, what are the paint scheme these guys are running this weekend. Oh, Harvick, apparently they're making it 3 wide on the track right now. That doesn't often work here at the Glash. Pretty sure 4 wide might actually be physically impossible on this racetrack. And now Reddick jumps up to the top of the leaderboard. He's now moved up to 8th overall. With only 3 minutes left in this group, though, these guys definitely don't seem to have the same pace as Group 1 and 2, at least so far. I might have just jinxed it with 3 minutes left in the session. Right now, Keselowski is the slowest car overall, slower than the Rick Ware cars. The Spire cars live fast, so yikes, that 6 car is definitely missed it so far in the setup. Oh, now Elliott's going to set a fast lap time as well as Harvick. Harvick passed both of the rookies in one turn. Got underneath Gibbs, who was underneath Gregson. And then Bell with a pretty fast lap time so far. Still Blaney with the fastest lap overall with a 13.40. Nobody's gotten into the 13.3s just yet. Stenhouse is going to jump up to 4th overall in this group. And now with just 2 minutes left, Reddick with the fastest lap time in this group, still a 10th off of the overall quick time. You may think just a tenth of a second, you probably can't even hardly, keep track of a tenth of a second. But on a racetrack that is literally shorter than the track that goes around your football field, a tenth of a second definitely matters. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We got 20 people in here. We got 18 likes. Let's get it up to 20 likes. I appreciate it. Hey, it's the journey to 4,000 subscribers. We are a ways away, and we hit 3K just after the end of the last season last year. But you know what? Keep on marching ahead. It's funny, all the crew chiefs just kind of sitting in the stands like a normal fan would. Because there's not necessarily, your normal designated pit row or spotter stand to actually view things. And from the infield, your view is pretty limited. Yep. You may have just heard it. Ty Gibbs, your new leader overall in this practice session with a 13.4 that matches Blaney's. And just with 15 seconds left in group number 3, that might stick as the fastest time in the first round of practice. Bell will also jump up to second overall in this group. And Haley is just going to take those honors away from Bell as they come across the line for the final time. Oh boy, Gibbs, just like that, is going. Ty Gibbs will be the fastest car here in the first round of practice. Oh my goodness. NASCAR fans, look out. We'll go through your full practice results here. It was Gibbs, then Haley, so he shows pace once again this year in second place in this group. Then Harvick comes up third, Bell fourth, Reddick fifth, Elliott sixth. Then Joey Logano, the defending winner of this race, only able to put up the seventh fastest lap time in this group, so that's slightly concerning if you're a 22 fan. I believe Stenhouse was eighth overall in this group. Then Gregson put in the ninth fastest time. And then if you go a little bit further down this leaderboard, J.J. Yaley, I believe, was 10th, and Brad Keselowski 11th. So I missed somebody in there. But Brad Keselowski, the guy who struggled the most so far, almost a second off the pace. A whole second on a track that's only 13 seconds. Yeah, that's definitely something they're going to have to figure out, considering that everybody with inside the top 20 was within 2/10 of the leader, and he was almost 5 times that. But he's going to be able to go to the garage and try and tune up that race car, make a big swing at it, and see if he can go back out there, run a quicker lap time, find some more pace in that car in his second practice run. Yeah, Calvin. Yeah, dang, Ty Gibbs is fast. I know a lot of people are kind of preying on Ty Gibbs' downfall, if you will, and I may not necessarily not be a part of that group. But I'm certainly not one to deny that he has a lot of talent behind the wheel of a race car, and it looks like he might have just proved it right there. Jose, you live in LA and you forgot about this? You forgot this was a temporary track? Mark Rockingham has a new repave. The safer barrier walls are being installed. Maybe NASCAR has it in the future. I hope so. It's only 7 miles from your house. I know. It seems like Rockingham has reached out to NASCAR, and they're just waiting to see if the NASCAR is willing to return the call. Now, NASCAR is returning to North Wilkesboro, this year for the All-Star race. So I wouldn't put it out of the possibilities that NASCAR would return to the Rock. I don't know if the Cup Series would go there, but it is certainly a possibility, I would imagine. And you're up to 3,143 subscribers. Thanks to whoever just subscribed. Okay, there we go. There we go. Just making some quick updates on my end. Jeffrey, you're rooting for Bubba. He looked like he had some pace early on in his group, then kind of faded a little bit back. We'll see what he can do in his second practice run. Like I said, I think qualifying is going to be what matters the most later tonight. You know, where you can set your starting position in your heat race, whether or not you're going to have to pass cars or you're just going to have to worry about driving away from the rest of the field. Like I said, every pole sitter of a heat race last year went on to lead every lap and lock their way in to the main event. And if you're tuning in from last year or the previous season, I appreciate it. Or if you are tuning in for quite literally the first time today, I appreciate you as well. Thanks for tuning in to Freeman Motorsports in 2023. Mark, Ty Gibbs is a diamond in the rough. The dude is going to be a Cup champion one day. Quite possibly, I would imagine. Quite possibly. I don't even know if I would say he's a diamond in the rough. I would say he's more so a diamond that a lot of people think are ugly. I would say he's a diamond that a lot of people think is ugly. But meanwhile, Group 1 is back out on track for its second practice run. Just looking to see if anybody's starting to set some quick times here. Really, I think the more laps that are run on this racetrack, the faster the lap times will get. I would not be surprised if we see a 13.3, possibly. Also, it looks like Ty Gibbs, even though I think they must have maybe rounded up on the broadcast to 13.4, but he actually ran a 13.39, so he has broken into the 13.3s. We'll see if anybody else can get any lower than that. Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart in the broadcast, joking it up right now. Oh, somebody bailing out of the throttle there. It looks like that was Ty Dillon, I believe. It's so interesting to see these guys race this track because it's just so different than anything else they have to touch. Do you guys think that we should actually ever have a real stadium race? What are your guys' thoughts on that? With there not being a race at Auto Club in 2024, a lot of rumors are circulating that possibly they will race at the Colosseum for an actual points-paying event. What are your guys' thoughts on that? In the chat, let me know. So Byron will set the new quick time in this group. He's going to run a 13.48. Leaderboard starting to shake up here just a bit. Honestly, it truly is just a matter of literal inches, the difference between what these guys are running on the racetrack right now. A gap of literally less than 600ths of a second separates your top 7 right now. Bubba Wallace is going to run the new quick time in this group. He's going to jump up to 10th overall. That'll be a 13.47. Ryan Preece working on Alex Bowman, trying to pull off a pass here in practice. Bubba Wallace now going to jump up to 6th overall on the leaderboard. 13.44 for that 23 machine. And now Truex is going to jump up to 5th with a 13.42. These guys really starting to figure it out about halfway through this practice session. A lot of these guys making adjustments based on what they heard from other drivers who are finding pace in Group 2 and Group 3. Now, the guys that are fast here in practice may not necessarily be fast later tonight in qualifying. It's going to be dark out. The track is going to lose a lot of air, a lot of temperature. Well, 3 minutes and 50 seconds left here. It looks like your guys that are struggling, I would still say, is really Cindric and Bowman, two guys that almost both missed the show last year. Those, I would say, are your two big names that are kind of struggling here early on. Larson also not running too quick of a times here, but I'd have to imagine he's going to find a way. But these flat tracks do not really fit Larson's style of racing. Still, nobody really touching the paces that we have seen from Gibbs and Blaney. Man, the throttle, like, it's so weird. They are just on the throttle so early and on the brake so early. It's almost as soon as they're exiting the corner, they're on the, not necessarily on the brake, but off the throttle, tapping the brakes, and then they're on the throttle before they even really get to the turn to accelerate for the next straightaway. Truex still with the fastest time in this group, and he is now going to jump to the top of the board overall with a 13.37. Real strong time for him right there, and he is running over the competition. He just got into the back of the two of Austin Cindric. And Bubba Wallace also going to jump up there right behind Truex now to the top of the leaderboard. These Toyotas are looking fast with the top 3 spots on the leaderboard right now. Byron going to jump up to 13th on the board. Buescher going to jump up into the top 10. That's a good sign for RFK. Yeah, Calvin, congrats, up to the top of the leaderboard. And he is running over the other guys that are on the racetrack right now. Byron putting together some good laps. He's going to now move up into the top 10, 9th overall. Truex with a 13.36. It makes me wonder, are we going to see a 13.3 here, possibly, in one of the next groups? I'm actually looking for what was the Busch Clash pull time last year. I can't find it, but it'll be interesting to see if we can get anybody get down into the 13.2s. Under a minute left here in this practice session. Larson's starting to struggle here. I definitely see that, but Gilliland is going to jump up to 6th overall on leaderboard. The front row Motorsports cars looking like they possibly have some good pace here this weekend. The next-gen car has truly just brought so much parity to this like NASCAR season. I mean, the NASCAR world, I should say. I mean, it's literally anybody's race to win and anybody's race to lose. I would say there's only about 4 or 5 cars that I would say are usually clearly out of contention, and there's honestly almost nobody who you can guarantee will always be in contention. These guys finishing up their last laps here in practice group number 1. And they are going to finish their second set of laps. So it'll be Truex, Wallace, Bowman, your top 3 fastest in this group. Bowman really looking to find some pace here. I was saying that he was struggling, but here he goes, jumps up to the top 3 spots on the leaderboard. He's one of only 5 drivers in the 13.3s right now. Overall, your updated leaderboard is Truex, Wallace, Bowman, Gibbs, Blaney, Gilliland with a good run, Haley, Chastain, Harvick, and McDowell, your top 10. Then Byron, Bell, Reddick, Buescher, Elliott, Preece, Briscoe, Logano, or Kyle Busch, Logano, Hamlin, your top 20. Then Suarez, Allmendinger, Larson, Dillon, Stenhouse, your top 25. Burton, Gregson, Cindric, Almirola, LaJoie, your top 30. Then Ty Dillon, Jones, Ware, Yaley, McLeod, and Keselowski rounds out your field. I'm really just entertained to see what happens once we get back to Group 3. If Ty Gibbs and right, what? No, yeah. Ty Gibbs can run an even faster lap time if he can continue to impress. But also, if Brad Keselowski can find any sort of pace here. Thanks, everybody, tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. We're up to 25 likes, guys. I appreciate it. Let's get it up to 30. Hero. Wow. Brad is fading. Yeah, is that a Lightning McQueen reference there? I'm just wondering. We're up to 300 viewers on the day. I appreciate it so far. Yeah, Hero, not going to lie. Yeah, Ty is impressive. Yeah, I definitely don't think anybody had it, or very few people at least had it, that Ty Gibbs was going to be this fast this early on, especially when you really consider how much he struggled last year in the Cup car. You know, he ran that second 23XI car, and he got one top 10, and it was a 10th place finish. Every other week, it felt like he was running maybe mid-20s. Really, I don't think anybody really saw Gibbs having this success early on, but still, it's just practice. It's just practice. This track's different than any other type of track we run on, so we'll see. Even at Daytona, that's not necessarily going to be the biggest indicator once we get into the season, the heart of the season, past Auto Club, Las Vegas, Phoenix. See, Hero, I hear what you're saying, but then I feel you had Noah Gragson often running in the 16 car, who was also probably focused on Xfinity. You know, him and Ty Gibbs were battling for that championship, and he was running the 16, which I think a lot of people would argue Colleague is inferior to 23XI, and he was out there not always running that quick, but he put together quite a few top 5 or top 10 runs, didn't always get the results, but I'd say Gragson was a lot more impressive in his starts than Ty Gibbs was in any of his. James, where is Chase Elliott? Chase Elliott, oh, Calvin, you already got your answer for you. He's 15th on the leaderboard right now. Hey, we're up to 3,144 subscribers. I appreciate it. Let's get it up to 3,150. What are your guys' favorite paint schemes of this weekend? I got them ticking across on the bottom for you. Type in the chat what paint schemes you think are the hottest out there in the Colosseum. I mean, my personal favorite's the 99. That's a pretty easy pick for me right there with that patriotic scheme. But that's not the only one. I want to kind of give a shout out to one of the smaller teams, the 77 of Spire. Even though, now I don't think everybody's going to like that scheme, but for some reason the NASCAR colors on it just do something for me. They just do something for me. And the 77, I just always like that number on a race car. Some strange biases, but another sharp one I would say is the new Napa scheme. That's a pretty clean car. The new Bass Pro primary scheme is pretty sharp. The 24 car also, that new Raptor and Exalta hybrid car, that's a nice car. Oh, the 43 Allegiant scheme, that's a really clean one as well. The Bowman new Ally scheme is nice. Yeah, then the 77 and the 99, those are some of my favorites right there for you. Both Trackhouse cars, Cendric's car, yeah, the Tron car. I like the new one car. I would say it's solid. I'd say it's a solid 7 out of 10. We're going to have a video coming out probably sometime in the next 2 weeks. Our favorite preseason paint schemes. Exactly, James. Exactly. Now Group 2 back out on practice for their second run at it. We'll see who jumps around to the top. See who can make the right adjustments here for qualifying later tonight. Hey, we're up to 30 likes, guys. I appreciate it. Can we get it up to 35? Let's keep it moving. Keep it moving. Chuck G5 is the best, hands down. Wow, that is not something I feel like I hear very often. I am a Kyle Larson fan. You can see here by this flag right next to me. But I will personally admit I do not love, or I should say, I do not love the Ricky Hendrick scheme on a next-gen car with the, not making any adjustments to the number movement. The number movement really kills it. But I mean, I'd still say it's a solid scheme. 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Mark, exactly. Qualifying is very integral to having a good run in the main event tomorrow. You got to start up front to really run up front. It's hard to make passes unless you're willing to use the bumper. Blaney, though, still the fastest in this group. 5th overall with a 13.4 flat. Then Chastain, 8th overall with a 13.41. McDowell in 10th with a 13.44. What are your guys' early predictions for the Daytona 500? I'd say the FRM cars are both sneaky fast here early on. And, I mean, we know that McDowell has had success at Daytona before. Who's to rule out he gets his second Daytona 500 win? Might be worth putting a bet on. I don't know. Chuck G met Larson at Apex Go-Kart Racetrack last year. He signed your Valvoline number 5 jacket. I did love the Valvoline scheme last year. I mean, I loved it the year before that even more. That Valvoline red. That was amazing. Austin Dillon going to get back-to-back victories at Daytona. Yeah, Hero, anything can happen. Truly, anything can happen. And it might just be me. Oh, wait, no, I'm wrong. I was about to say they've gone, like, commercial-free so far in their coverage, and they haven't, but they've gone actually, like, as close to commercial-free as it gets in NASCAR. So I do really appreciate that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we see some of that tomorrow and more throughout the NASCAR season. Probably won't happen, but less commercials, please, NASCAR. I appreciate it. Apparently, it's close to a sellout crowd for the event tomorrow. We'll see what actually happens in the stands. Appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Closing in on 3,150 subscribers. Kyle Busch, 16th overall on the leaderboard right now in this group. Briscoe a little bit behind him. Your top 20 cars separated by just over 1/10 of a second right now. Yeah, right now I'd say Burton, Almirola. Those are some guys that are kind of struggling in this group. And those are guys that struggled last year. So kind of interesting to see, those patterns continuing to carry over, even though they've gotten a whole year of experience with this next-gen car. Hamlin has jumped up to 6th overall, second in this group. We still haven't seen really any of these guys beat their previous lap times, but literally as I say that, Blaney beats his previous lap time, and he will jump up to 4th overall, just moving up one position past Ty Gibbs. Chastain going to jump up to 6th overall on the leaderboard. A lot of guys starting to break into those 13.3s, high 13.3s. Still nobody has gotten below a 13.36. That was set by Martin Truex Jr. Yeah, right now, the biggest struggle so far has got to be Brad Keselowski, almost a second off the pace. He's going to be in the next group. Hopefully they took a massive swing at it and have found some more pace in it. Chase Briscoe jumps up to 10th overall on the leaderboard. Just a minute and a half to go in this session. Allmendinger has already called it quits. Looking underneath that race car a little bit right now, so maybe they're just checking tire wear or something, but didn't sound like there are any problems on any of the cars yet. Chastain making a pass on Cody Ware. If you guys recall, Cody Ware, it was like he almost somehow made it into one of the main event, or made it into the main event last year. Oh, Cody Ware almost lost it, almost spun it out off of turn 4 a couple laps ago, right in front of Corey LaJoie. Under a minute left here in Group 2. Briscoe jumped up to 3rd overall with a 13.38. Fastest in this group. And looking a little bit further down the leaderboard, Kyle Busch running pretty mid of the pack right now. Almirola jumps up to 14th overall. That's a pretty big jump for him. He was running back almost outside the top 30 before then. Kyle Busch also jumps up into the top 15. And this is the final lap here in Group 2 for practice. And it looks like Truex is going to stay at the top of the overall leaderboard, but in this session, Briscoe will set the fastest lap time of a 13.38. Now, what can Ty Gibbs do? He was the fastest overall after the first round of practice. He's got another shot at going back to the top of the leaderboard here in just a moment. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. We're up to 3,145 subscribers. I appreciate it. Can we get to 3,150? Hey, we got another one. I appreciate it. Can we get it up to 40 likes as well? Thank you, guys. Liking and subscribing. It's a free way to help support what we do here at Freeman Motorsports. Ryan suggested a suggestion for me. I'm open to suggestions. Chuck G, the interstate battery cars look sharp. I do agree with you on that one. I think it'd be so funny. I know very few people agree with me on this, but I think I would love it if they ran all 4 of them at like one of the super speedway events. It would definitely be like a spotter's nightmare, but it would be so cool to see like an armada of 4 interstate batteries, electric green cars racing around the banks of Daytona or Talladega together. Oh, that would be amazing, in my opinion. Mark, what the heck is wrong with RFK and why is it such a struggle for Brad? I have no idea. I think it just might be this racetrack or something, man. Hey, Brandon, thanks for subscribing. Also, if you did hit the subscribe button and you did not see the little dinosaur jumping, don't think that you haven't subscribed. Just for some reason, it doesn't pick up every subscription. Not quite sure why it does that, but that is why it is. Ryan, if you're not going to play the race live, could you play the live scanner audio and commentate as usual, as you do maybe along with it? I just feel like I think it just wouldn't work well. I think it would just be me talking over the scanner, and it would really just be a mess for the audio. And also, I'd probably be dissynced with the scanner audio. Like, it'd probably be a bit ahead of me or something like that. So, yeah, I just also like to keep it this more raw feel. But I appreciate the suggestion nonetheless. Hey, thanks to everybody tuning in to the first NASCAR stream of the year on Freeman Motorsports. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We hit 3,000 subscribers at the end of the season last year, on the road to 4K forever for Kevin Harvick. That's a lot of fours, but just thought of that there off the top of my head. And Ronnie in the chat asking, how is Harvick number 4 doing? Yeah, right now Harvick overall on the live leaderboard. He is up in this next practice session, so his spot on the leaderboard right now isn't a great indicator of where he really is. He's 11th overall, which is pretty good actually. So, yeah, Harvick looks to have some solid pace here so far this weekend. Him, Briscoe, as well as I keep wanting to say Cole Custer, but Ryan Preece. Those three guys looking to have some solid pace here so far this weekend. Almirola lagging a little bit behind him, but that's not too surprising. Sorry, no Almirola hate, guys. No Almirola hate. Sorry. I've been good, Ryan. Oh, man, I'm just so excited for NASCAR to be back, especially after the highs we had at the end of the season last year with that crazy Phoenix weekend to end the season. Chuck G, the Velveeta car is pretty cheesy. I know that. Oh, man, if only they had it, like, over the hood as well and it wasn't that white hood. Oh, Logano and Yaley almost running into each other there early on here in this Group 3 practice session. Keselowski back out on track. We'll see if he can best his lap time from the first round. He struggled immensely. He is 9/10 off the pace here right now. So, yeah, he's definitely looking to find a bit of speed here. But the rookie Ty Gibbs was the fastest through the first round of practice. Here he is back on the track again. Can he jump to the top of the leaderboard? Right now, the Toyota's looking pretty fast. It's already Truex and Wallace 1-2. Gibbs is in 6th, and Hamlin also inside the top 10. It does take a couple of laps, though, for these guys to kind of get into the groove here on this racetrack, for the track to heat up. These tires to really, get into the track. That's the best way I have of describing it. But, yeah, so we won't see these guys really have a great indication of what they've figured out within the last set of adjustments they've had for about halfway through this session. Reddick had a bit of a moment there off of turn 4 last time by. Eric Jones, also another driver looking to find some speed here in this practice session. He struggled in the first round. Excuse me. NASCAR fan, the Clash is tomorrow. The heat races will be at 5 o'clock. The main event will be at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Also, right now is practice. Qualifying, single car qualifying, which will set the grids for the heat races, will be at 8:30 Eastern Time. And so we are doing just everything there is this weekend. Ronnie, you're so pumped this year. You can't wait for the Clash tomorrow. Go NASCAR. Couldn't agree more. It's baggy. Since Kurt's out, you had to brainstorm on who to root for now. Such a tough year, man. Yeah, I don't want to get too far down this track, but it's still such a bummer what would happen to Kurt Busch. Or, it's really just not how you want to see any driver be pushed down in the sport in some senses. Root for Ryan Blaney. We have a couple Blaney fans in the chat here. Calvin, yeah, you miss Kurt Busch. I miss him so much too, man. It's just so funny how, the NASCAR world kind of came full circle on Kurt Busch from hating him to kind of, him low-key being a fan favorite at the end of his career. But yeah, the field is just getting tighter and tighter on speed. Your top 20 drivers separated by 1/10 of a second right now in practice. And Keselowski is still struggling. Is he still the lowest on the board? He is the lowest still overall on the board, but he's picked up about a tenth and a half. But still, he is 7, almost 8/10 off of the fastest time right now. Brad Keselowski really struggling. His teammate Chris Buescher finding a bit more pace. Eric Jones, the really big lockup there into turn 1. Another driver I was already saying who's having issues. Eric Jones, 32nd overall on the leaderboard at the moment. Noah Gragson also not doing too well either. He is down in 30th. Eric Jones going to jump up to 28th actually as I'm talking, so he's finding a little bit of something, but not much. Still haven't seen any crazy fast lap times yet in this group, but we still are just halfway through this practice run. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Make sure you drop a like if you haven't already. We're almost up to 40 likes. Let's get to 50 likes, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already. I appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it. We are currently at 3,147 subscribers. That is tied for our all-time high in subscribers. So we are literally one away from setting our new record for most subscribers. Appreciate it, guys. Maybe we'll get up to 3,200 possibly before the end of the weekend. We've already gotten 6 new subscribers here in this live stream. I appreciate it. Oh. Yeah, Ty Gibbs is blowing up. Ty Gibbs just blew her up or something. Ty Gibbs has gone up in smoke, and we have our first big incident here. Oh, he is on fire. Ty Gibbs is big flame inside the cockpit. Oh, boy, Ty Gibbs got to get out of that race car right now. Big flame inside of that cockpit. It is smoking up like crazy, and the red flag is out here already. He is out and away quickly, but big flames already inside of that 54 car. Oh, my goodness, guys. That is not a good sign at all. Not a good sign at all. You know, we had talked about the fires coming into the cockpit last year. For instance, like Evan Harvick's at Darlington. That's the most notable one. But, you know, it happened other times as well. Chris Buescher at Indianapolis Road Course. And Ty Gibbs just had a huge flame breakout inside of the cockpit of his race car. Like, literally right there on the passenger side of the car. And they're putting out that fire right now as we speak. But that car is up in smoke, quite literally. And the whole right side is kind of charred up. Fire is out, but that is, oh boy. We'll have to see what the backup car has here. You definitely don't want to cook up one of these next-gen cars just here in a preliminary event like the Clash. And Ty Gibbs looked like he had a lot of pace here early on, but it doesn't seem like anything can go his way. But yeah, I really don't know where the, like, you know, we've talked about the rocker panel fires, but I don't actually know if that was in the rocker panel. Like, that was, like, literally inside the cockpit. They don't really have a camera angle of it, but there was a lot of smoke kind of coming up into the cockpit. We kind of noticed over the last few laps. And, you know, maybe it was, you know, just something small burning, but, yeah, that was terminal for sure. And just almost as if in your car, if the glove box, just a big flame popped out of it. That is literally what it looked like inside of this race car. Yeah, it's baggy. A repeat from Harvick's race, but obviously it doesn't seem like NASCAR has solved that problem yet. And, you know, these drivers, you know, they have time to get out of the race car, but the thing is imagine on a super speedway or some sort of event where for whatever reason, you know, NASCAR driver gets, you know, possibly pinned in the race car or, you know, knocked unconscious and they aren't able to, you know, get themselves out of the race car by whatever means. If you have one of those fires break out inside of the cockpit, yeah, that is not a good scenario there. That is something that NASCAR definitely needs to get a handle on. It was kind of a big talking point building up to the end of the season last year, and, you know, during the offseason, you know, a lot of things kind of, kind of died off because, you know, NASCAR's not happening. Not as many people are talking about it or, you know, talking about those problems. But already, literally within the first practice session back, we see a problem that kind of trickled throughout the season last year is still present here once again in 2023. John Browning, arson. Almost. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Almost to 3,150 subscribers. I appreciate it. So I think these guys that should get, you know, another 3 or 4 minutes back out on the racetrack. I'm not sure, though. Because the red flag was displayed, but I don't know if the clock keeps running for the practice session. I don't even know if they'll be able to get the backup car ready in time for the main event, or not the main event, but for qualifying later tonight. That's only an hour and a half away or so. Chuck G, maybe it was the muffler. I mean, maybe it was, but I don't think so because it was just right inside the cockpit. I don't really know how that would be the muffler. Yeah, it's like if the red flag was displayed, I would assume it stopped. But I mean, they're probably on a bit of a time crunch with the TV, so you know, in terms of the broadcasting. So maybe they're rushing through it, or maybe they're rushing through it, I guess. But who knows? Oh boy, but we will be live later tonight for qualifying. And honestly, I was planning on breaking it up into 2 streams, but if this red flag takes some time, it might just go right into qualifying, or by practice might just run right into qualifying. So, yeah, if you guys are just tuning in, Ty Gibbs is up in smoke. Fire inside the cockpit. Was able to get out of the car safely, but yeah, it's very similar to Harvick's incident at Darlington last year, and that is just not a good sign by any means in terms of the safety issues talking about in NASCAR. Yeah, and so it sounds like the theory is still that it's from the rocker box, but not really confirmed yet. Probably get to speak with Ty here pretty soon, I would imagine. Might take him to... There isn't really an infield care center here, but something like that. I'm going to start a new poll here. Are you a fan of stadium racing? We got 40 people watching. We got 40 likes. I appreciate it. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's get it up to 50. When you hit that like button, it basically tells YouTube that people are liking what's going on here, so it'll tell other people about it. So that's why I appreciate it when you just decide to drop a like. What are your guys' favorite paint schemes of the weekend? Let me know in the chat. What are your predictions? What are your thoughts? Ask me anything about NASCAR. Currently under commercial break as they're still cleaning up this 54 car that's parked on the front straightaway. Ty Gibbs had been one of the fastest cars so far in practice, so it'll be interesting to see if they are able to keep that same pace in the backup car. I would imagine for an event like this, the teams are not putting too much into the backup, preparing it, or anything like that. And I mean, I don't know. I'm no expert really by any means. But is it possible that they're able to make the repairs to this car? I mean, I don't know how much the fire affects things, but, you know, maybe if they wanted to, they could skip practice, repair this car because I had so much pace, and race it again tomorrow. But the fire I might have damaged too much. Oh, sorry about messing up the leaderboard there for you guys. Marty Burns. Okay, are you the reporter? The reporter Marty Burns? Any predictions on Harvick's replacement? Okay, so, you know, obviously I would have thought it was Ryan Preece before, you know, Ryan Preece replaced Cole Custer. But now I would say it's really kind of an open door. A lot of people are kind of thinking about Stenhouse. I don't think so. I think he's going to stick with JTG. They did have him under contract, I believe, through 2025. Now there's probably way out of that contract. But if Stenhouse did go to Stuart Haas, I like Stenhouse, so I'd like to see that happen for him. But I don't think that's going to happen. In the Xfinity Series, you think of the 4 drivers. Well, you could bring Cole Custer back up to the Cup Series, but that wouldn't necessarily make a ton of sense since you just demoted him. But I think it's even less likely that Riley Herbst makes his way up to the Cup Series because he would probably have to beat Cole Custer in the Xfinity Series, which I just don't see that happening at all. But here's my prediction for who's going to be in the 4 car next year. I think it is going to be Ryan Preece. I think Ryan Preece is going to shift from the 41 to the 4. I think he's going to have a really solid season this year, his first year with the team. And then I think you're going to have Cole Custer go back into his 41 machine for 2024. So I think you just kind of have some shuffling of seats at Stuart Haas next year, and Stuart Haas will take, Stuart Haas, that's not a man, but Ryan Preece will take over the 4 car next year. That's my prediction. But I think there's still a lot that could unfold. Possibly Austin Hill if he can't find a way in at RCR next year at a Chevy team if he's got success in the Xfinity Series. You know, I think, but I don't, and like I said though, I don't think there's really an Xfinity Series driver that I can think of, or really even a Cup Series guy that would take that seat. That would be willing to drive the 4 car. So I would think that it'll probably be Ryan Preece shifting to the 4 and then somebody taking the 41 over once again next year. Marty Burns, Sonny Diaz moved to SHR. I think that might be reading a bit too far into things because if you're making that argument, they've also moved over to, well, actually take that back. They moved over to the Rick Racing car, but that's because of the Stuart Haas Rick Racing Alliance. But yeah, I don't know if I would put too much money on just hit that sponsor move in there. Yeah, Rubio, that is, yeah, Cole's father works at SHR, so that's why he's still been able to keep a ride after all what's happened. Thinking in something, where can I watch the feed level? Not quite sure. Mike H, this on TV right now? Yes, it's on FS1 if you are trying to tune in through that end. Linda Raymond, if Bowman had a bad year and Gregson has a good year, then he will probably see Gregson in the 48 in 2024. Yeah, I could see that happening. I actually hope that that happens. I mean, not that I don't dislike Bowman, but I really like Gregson, and I just feel like, all those guys that are current, or at least Byron, more so Elliott and Larson, they're going to be at Hendrick for a long time. Byron will probably be there for at least 2 more years. And then Bowman, I think, is the most likely to leave there. So I would like to see Gregson possibly get a shot there. You like the 99 and the 19? It's bag. Yeah, both those are solid schemes. Brian Chastain. Stenhouse, doubt it. Yeah, I kind of agree there. Bell off the pace here. I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to pull into the pit lane here. Or maybe he's not off the pace. Maybe it's just the lap time is just so slow here. Anyways, like I don't know if I mentioned, but they are back under green after the Ty Gibbs Inferno. And nobody really setting any fast lap times here in this session. Oh, so Bell was just, Bell with a big lockup there into turn 3. So that is going to end up practice group number 3, and that'll end the second round of practice. Everybody now just gets only 8 more minutes to try and improve their cars one final time before qualifying later tonight. And qualifying, even though there's the heat races tomorrow, qualifying, sets the positions for the heat races, and that is actually very important because it is so hard to pass at this racetrack. So if you can start on pole or start in the top 3 spots in your heat race, you're almost guaranteed a spot in the big dance tomorrow night. Eric Almirola is going to be coming back in 2023. I think it's, or in 2024, I mean, yeah. So, but I think he's going to retire after 2024. So, yeah, Almirola, though, will be around 2 more years. And that'll be another seat that's probably going to be up for grabs. And I think you could possibly see Riley Herbst get that if he's still around. I doubt it. I think it's honestly possibly likely that if Haley Deegan moves to the Xfinity Series in 2024 and just has the slightest success, maybe they would bump her up to the Cup Series. But, I don't think that should happen, but unless you were just go insane the next 2 years and win like 10 races. Hey, we're up to 45 people watching, guys. I appreciate it. Can we get it up to 50 likes? 50 likes. Also, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're up to 3,149. Just one subscriber away from 3,150. Appreciate it. So now everybody just has 8 more minutes to try and improve their race cars. At the top of the leaderboard, though, right now, it's some Toyotas. Truex with a 13.36, then Wallace with a 13.37. Briscoe in 3rd, the first Ford. Bowman in 4th, the first Chevrolet. Then Blaney rounds out your top 5. Gibbs in 6th, but his car has gone up in flames, so we will not be seeing him again today, most likely. Tough break for the rookie, who showed a lot of pace early on. And then Chastain, Hamlin, Gilliland, who's shown quite a bit of pace, as well as his other FRM teammate, who's a little bit behind him. From Motorsports, might want to keep your eye out on them for underdogs tomorrow. Haley rounds out your top 10. Harvick in his final season in the Cup Series, just outside the top 10 and 11th. Then McDowell, showing that both the FRM cars inside the top 12. Strong stuff so far. Then Kyle Busch in 13th, his first race with his new team, RCR. Byron in 14th, and Almirola rounds out your top 15. Then Bell, Reddick, Buescher, Elliott, and Priest round out your top 20. Your defending winner of the race, Joey Logano, in 21st. Behind him, Daniel Suarez and A.J. Allmendinger, who's running full-time this year for Kaulig. He's somebody who I think is definitely going to be a dark horse shot to make the playoffs. Honestly, he may not even be considered a dark horse. Corey LaJoie in 24th. Austin Dillon in 25th. Larson struggling early on. He's in 26th. Joan also struggling 27th. Stenhouse, Gregson, really all these guys that I've just mentioned, not where they want to be. As well as Burton, who rounds out in the top 30. Cendric struggled here last year, didn't make the big show. Struggling again this year. I feel like you can say that about a lot. You can say that about a lot of the drivers that are at the lower end of this leaderboard here. Behind him, Ty Dillon and his new team Aspire. Then Keselowski in 33rd. He made some big improvements. He was almost a second off the pace. Now he's only 0.3 off. But yeah, Keselowski, RFK kind of as a whole, not looking too great right now. And then Cody Ware and J.J. Yaley and B.J. McLeod round out your field. So just one more round of practice to go. Hey, we just got a couple new subscribers. Ice E, and I can't even pronounce it. EJ2K Wick. I appreciate it. At 3150, guys. 3150. 3150. I appreciate it, guys. On the road to, who knows, maybe 4K, maybe 5K. Oh, we're having some technical difficulties real quick. There we go. Was D. It's baggy. You go back to old school NASCAR practice, qualify, then happy hour. Yeah, I just wish they had more practice sessions, especially like for the fan aspect when you're, at the track or even just watching, at your home. There's just more content to watch, more to experience when you actually have practice sessions. So I hope that's something that kind of comes back slowly. I don't know if it will, though, but I hope it does. Ice E-Man. Hey, man. How are you doing? What you misses? Not quite sure what you're getting here. Okay, but now Group 1 back out on the racetrack for their final time today. Hey, we're up to 3,153, guys. I appreciate it. We gained 12 subscribers so far today. 12 subscribers so far in the 2023 NASCAR season. I appreciate it. Looking at the leaderboard, though, anybody making any moves so far? Larson, I think, is one of the drivers in this group that is definitely trying to find some more pace, but he's got a whole line of cars stacked up behind him. Ryan Preece makes a move to the inside of Daniel Suarez down the front stretch. Suarez kind of getting shuffled, the odd man out. Oh, we're interviewing Ty Gibbs. We'll see what he has to say about that Inferno situation. So doesn't seem like they actually got an idea of what caused the fire yet on that 54 car. What did you miss? All you've missed is just practice. It's just practice. And the only big event, Ty Gibbs' car caught on fire inside the cockpit, similar to Kevin Harvick last year at Darlington. So, yeah, that's really the only big issue that's happened so far. Hey. And they're not going to a backup car on that 54. I mean, I doubt they're going to be able to repair that thing in time, but they're not going to a backup. That's something to keep tabs on. Lee Prince, thanks for subscribing. Ty, thanks for subscribing as well. If you subscribe and your name doesn't pop up on the screen with a little dinosaur, it's not anything on my end. It's just sometimes the machine that makes that happen is a little finicky. So don't take it personally. Oh, we lost a subscriber. Oh, boy. That's not good. We lost one. Well, you win some, you lose some. Anyways, almost up to 50 likes, guys. I appreciate it. Rick Thomas. They need to the exhaust back exiting the left side. Not quite sure. I don't really know if that's going to affect anything, though, or like make a huge impact. But I'm no expert. So now we got 4 minutes, 30 seconds left here. 3 of your fastest 5 cars on the racetrack right now. But nobody's really improved their lap times so far in this session. Now, I would just say the big notable driver that's struggling in this group is probably Kyle Larson, still 26th on the leaderboard. only a tenth and a half off of the fastest time. But yeah, that's quite a big margin on this size of a racetrack. Looks like Justin Haley already pulling it behind the wall halfway through this session. He already thinks he is confident in his machine. Going to try and save it for qualifying later tonight, I guess. But these guys have only had 24 minutes of track time, and yet they have already run almost 100 laps, 2/3 of the main event tomorrow night. So yeah, I wish they would make the race longer. I understand that there are things that maybe, if there are a lot of cautions, and yeah, maybe the race would drag on a bit too long. But last year there was like 2 cautions besides like the stage break thing they had. So basically, the main event was literally like 45 minutes. Like the heat races were way more engaging. So I wish they would change that, but oh well. Oh well. It's one thing, though, to be fast in practice. It's another to actually have that pace in the race. Yeah, Larson just struggling. I think the thing is because, the track's so small. It's like the world's fastest conga line. It's hard to find space to really put down some fast lap times. If you're struggling to, find some open space on the racetrack, you can't really get that space to open up your maneuverability or try new things. You got news that Brickyard 400 was returning without Bristol non-dirt. I think Bristol dirt is staying, and honestly, I don't mind. I like Bristol dirt, which is kind of controversial. Shep, yes, it is on FS1. Also, looking at the poll in the chat, do you guys like stadium racing? 3/4 of you guys say yes. 1/4 of you guys say no. And yeah, I would agree with the majority on this one. I'm a fan of stadium racing. I kind of was doubting it at first, but it has delivered, I would say, at least so far. Don't know if it'll ever be something that we could actually have points paying events at, but a pretty cool exhibition type event. My favorite Hendrick driver? There's your answer right there. Your answer? Your answer? So right now, though, Truex, Wallace, Briscoe, Bowman, Blaney, your top 5 quick times. Qualifying, though, coming up in less than an hour at 8:30. Still just got 2 more 8-minute practice sessions after this one. It's basically, you can't have a stadium race without Bristol. Well, I think it's kind of a different aspect. I'm saying, this stadium racing, like the Colosseum. Are you like Elliott? Your name is Elliott? Coincidence? I think not. Todd Gillen moves up to 10th overall on the leaderboard. He was already in, I believe, like 11th or so. So, yeah, those FRM cars looking to have good pace. Okay, interesting stat. All but 2 cars have ran a lap faster than the pole lap last year. So that's probably a big sign that these guys have figured out these next-gen cars over the season last year. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the Group 1 practice session. Things pretty much stay the same. Group 2 about to head into the arena. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Can't say it enough. It's a free way to help support what we do here at Freeman Motorsports. Almost up to 50 likes. 48 subscribers away from 3,200. On the road to 4,000 subscribers forever for Harvick. Average top speed looking like, I can actually look at that right now. Average top speed, 67 miles an hour. I'm not sure if that's the top speed or the average speed around there. Yeah, that's just the average speed. The average speed is 67 miles an hour. Trying to do the math on what would be the top speed. It's probably about 90. Basically like your normal short track. If you ever, go to a short track near your house. I'll try to see if I can look at the telemetry on one of the race cars here during the next practice session. That's cool, EJ. That's cool. Yeah, Carlos, average speed 67 miles an hour. So, yeah, basically you racing around like your parking lot, your church parking lot, your Walmart parking lot, whatever you have. Here, I'm going to try and see if I can check the telemetry to see what the fastest speeds are. Yeah, I would imagine probably right about 90. Because the straightaways are literally just about 100 yards. Actually less. And thanks to everybody tuning in. About 800 people I've watched so far. It's actually not 90 miles per hour even on corner entry. They let off the gas basically when they exit the corner. The throttle patterns are really interesting. Basically, they're on the throttle from basically corner entry through about 10 feet off a corner exit, and then they're basically just coasting all the way down the straightaway. Don't even really use the brakes hardly. Maybe a slight brake tap in the entrance to the corner, and then their entrance to the corner, and then they just smash the brakes for basically the turn a little bit off corner exit. Then they kind of coast. It's Baggy. You prefer Costco. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to inspire, your average NASCAR viewer to go and have their own clash race in a NASCAR parking lot with their friends. I think that's what they're going for. Hey, we're up to 50 likes. I think I just said that, but I appreciate that. Woo! Oh, man. It just feels so good to be back. Who are your guys' favorite drivers? Let me know in the chat. Who are you rooting for on a weekly basis? And Group 2 is now on the racetrack. Yeah, I'll let you guys know once I find the telemetry on what the high speeds are and what the low speeds are through the middle of the corner, because they're probably getting down low 30s. According to the drivers, though, they think there's a slight bit more banking this year, but that probably just means it's no longer literally flat. It's probably got 2 degrees in banking. Chastain getting the bumper from Austin Dillon. And I was about to say Tyler Reddick and Kyle Busch, the 2 RCR cars all over the bumper of the #1 Trackhouse machine. Now Kyle Busch going to go to the inside of his new teammate in turns 3 and 4. Austin Dillon going to let him go through. Man, that 3 car is snapping there as he puts the throttle down. I see Truex. I see Chase Elliott. Those are some of the fan favorites in the chat. Rubio, they are not actually going to be able to do the ice race this year. That news came out a little recently. The supply chain issues, I guess. I don't really know what that means, how that would affect that. But, yeah, no ice race is going to be actually happening in the NASCAR Euro Series, which is a bit of a bummer. NASCAR Euro Series is pretty cool, though. If you haven't checked it out, I recommend checking it out. They just have all their races streamed live on YouTube. Hey, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We got about 50 people in here. I appreciate it. 5 minutes left here in group practice number 2. Truex at the top of the leaderboard. Oh, some sparks, I think, coming out from underneath the bottom of that one car. And the 8 car was slideways just there off of turn number 2. EJ, what place is Chase in on the leaderboard right now? The 9 car is in 19th. So, struggling a little bit here early on. Oh, Briscoe just drove it down in there to the inside of the 16. And the 16's going to let him know about it. Oh, Allmendinger just put Briscoe in the wall. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Allmendinger just drove Briscoe into the wall in practice. Oh, my goodness. The emotions are flowing already. And are we possibly seeing our first new rivalry of the 2023 season? Okay, so basically on one lap you had the 14 give the 16 a bit of a shot, and then he just drives right into the side of the 16. Basically just, we saw him do something similar to Cody Ware earlier, and this time he just drove right into the side of the 16, and the 16 just expresses his pleasure and just shunts the 14, who makes slight contact to the outside wall. I'm pretty sure he drove away from it, but like not much real damage there, I would imagine. Well, right front fender's a little crumpled up. I don't think he hit hard enough to hurt anything, but oh my goodness. Yeah, hopefully, Rubio. Yeah, any racing? Not maybe any racing, but possibly some fighting might be coming our way here. Our first rivalry of the 2023 season, Allmendinger and Briscoe. I would say Allmendinger kind of overreacted, but I wouldn't necessarily disagree with his actions. Briscoe basically was running over him like it was an actual, like they were racing for the last spot in the last chance qualifier or something. But, and then Allmendinger was like, what are you doing here, pal? And then I think he meant to give him a shot, but because this track is just so small, if you give somebody the slightest shot, well, they're going to slide 5 feet and be in the outside wall. The Dinger bringing it out, though, here early on. Bumping around Briscoe. Ski Racer 73. Here, I'll explain it one more time. So you have, going into turns 1 and 2, Briscoe gives Allmendinger a little bit of a bump, knocks him up out of the groove. Then here they are going down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Or no, I got that backwards. The first turn set was into turns 3 and 4. Then they're back into turns 1 and 2 again. And then Briscoe just, like, I don't even know if he oversends it or whatever, just basically runs over the 16 car, just drives right into the driver's side. You know, not super severe contact, but enough for, like, Allmendinger to be like, what the heck are you doing? This is a practice session. Why are you running me over here? And then they go down the back straightaway, and Allmendinger's like, yeah, you're not going to get away with that. Shunts him in the back. And then because this track is so small, I mean, the slightest shunt is going to send somebody in the outside wall. So I don't know if Allmendinger necessarily intended to put Briscoe into the wall. It was really, like, slight contact. I mean, I don't think that's going to really affect the 14 car hardly in any way. But, yeah, that brought out the red flag here. Yeah, it's baggy. The drivers turn up the retaliation a little bit on the short track. Yeah, I would agree, but I would just also say, like, yeah, I'm kind of in Allmendinger's boat for this one. I'm like, Briscoe, what are you doing? This is practice. You just ran me over like we're battling for the win or something. Like, there's no point. And it's also not the first time Briscoe had done something like that. He did it to him the lap before, and then he also ran over Cody Ware, and I think like in the last practice session. So yeah, it was kind of like, I don't really know what he's doing right now. You're welcome, Ski Racer. Yeah, Allmendinger just shunt. Okay, now that I look at it again, okay, Allmendinger was trying to wall the 14. He was trying to wall the 14. I agree with that now. But still, like, kind of merited in my opinion. But now they're back out with the green flag. 2 minutes left in this practice session for these guys to turn some more laps. Sun's starting to set on this racetrack. Qualifying only 45 minutes away. Cody Worth, a pretty big lockup there. Not sure if Briscoe's still on the track or not. Wasn't a lot of damage, but honestly, with the pace his car already had, they're probably like, you know, we're just going to take this thing and make sure everything's all right with it rather than have you keep running laps here. But we're going to have to see in the next practice session, does Brad Keselowski find any more pace still outside of the top 30 on the leaderboard charts? It seems like history is repeating itself so far this year for RFK. Ski Racer 73, you haven't seen Gibbs in Cup. Well, yeah, he's full-time in the 54 this year, man. And he was looking really fast, the fastest car in the first round of practice, and he's still 6th fastest overall, but in the second round of practice, his car burst into flames, and that was all she wrote for that 54 machine, except it sounds like they're actually going to try and stick with that car for tomorrow. I don't see how they're going to be able to repair it in time for qualifying tonight. So I think, honestly, I do kind of agree with them sticking with that car. Because now that I think about it, you don't want to go to a backup and then like risk tearing up 2 race cars here at an event that doesn't even matter. Yeah, I agree. I don't see why they should go to the backup now that I think about it. It's just not worth possibly tearing up 2 cars. It's better just to forfeit qualifying and stick with this one car and cut your losses. Ski Racer 73, I have a new sub. Oh, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining the community. Hey, we're up to 3155. Appreciate it, guys. Closing in on 3,200. We've gained like 15 subscribers so far today. The track definitely evolving, though, because it seems like we saw a lot of pickup from Group 1 to or the first round to the second round, but no pickup hardly at all for anybody in the third round. The sun's starting to set. More rubber's getting put in the track, so things are possibly changing a little bit here, but yeah, we're already seeing some tempers flare here, and we have not even made it to any sort of competitive event. Rick Dudley, appreciate it. Up to 3156, guys. Thank you very much. Watching the Bathurst 12-hour and the Clash at the same time. Yeah, I'm probably going to try and catch the end of the Bathurst 12-hour after this, hopefully. Do I like chicken? I would say I love chicken. It's one of the best meats out there. Also, looking back at the poll, still actually an even 75-25% here on your guys' opinions of stadium racing. The majority going in favor of stadium racing. Yeah, thanks to everyone tuning in. We'll be live again tomorrow for the heat races and the main event. And Daytona, oh, you better bet we're bringing you qualifying, the duels, the trucks, obviously, you know, probably Cup Series and Xfinity Series practice, Xfinity Series qualifying, because there's probably going to be like 45 cars, so a lot of people are going to miss the show. And then beyond that, we're going to bring you the ARCA race, the Xfinity race, and then obviously Cup Series race. So it is going to just be a week slammed full of live streams. My voice will probably not even make it through Friday, but we'll do our best. So it's like the warm-up for that. And I may be getting my wisdom teeth out next Friday, but if I'm not, I'll be live streaming Dale Jr. Racing at South Carolina, or at Florence Speedway in South Carolina next Friday night. If I do have my wisdom teeth still in my mouth. That came out kind of weird, but we'll stick with it and roll on. Got 50 people watching right now, but you got 50 likes. Appreciate it if you hit that like button. It's a free way to help out what we do here. It basically tells YouTube, hey, people like what this guy is doing. So YouTube's like, okay, we're going to show this to more people because people like what he's doing. Hey. I also just want to throw this out here. The biggest stream of 2022 was our Daytona, or the Coke 0400 stream. No big surprise there. 13,000 viewers. Really appreciate y'all. Then the top 10 all had 7,000 or more. Okay, 7,000 or more. It's a new year. We've already had a couple streams already here in 2023. So it doesn't take anything really to break the top 10. We've already easily broken the top 10. We've only had 2 streams, so there's only even 3. But anyways, I'll stop mumbling. Our biggest stream so far this year has 1,700 views. Currently, we're at about 1,000, so share it with your friends. We might make this the biggest stream so far in 2023. Mark, yes, I will. I'm probably going to start using the community post a bit more actively. And also, you want to check out some of the links in the description. You can check out my Instagram, and you'll see some probably more thoughts. Joey Logano has looped it in practice. The car is clean, but he has looped it. I believe that's turn 4, I want to say. Or maybe it's turn 2. I can't even tell. But, yeah, it's turn 4. But, yeah, he was going to the inside of Reddick and just dove it in, similar to what Briscoe did, but he was a little further back, just looped it around, not any contact with anybody. It's all good. But if you click that first link in the description, see the Free Motorsports Instagram, there'll be a lot more updates of when we're going live, or if you're checking the community tab on this page, that'll kind of update you when we're going live. Kyle Busch will win the Daytona 500. That's a bold prediction, Rubio. I'm hearing that one actually quite a bit. I personally don't think that's going to happen. I do have to say, I think the Daytona 500 is I feel it's just becoming an even more wide open race. The next gen cars, because there's so much parity, Super Speedway, it's literally anybody's race. Literally anybody. Anyways, 5 or 6 minutes left here in Group 3. It's Truex, Wallace, Briscoe, Bowman, Blaney, your top 5. Then Gibbs, Chastain, Hamlin, Haley, Gilliland, your top 10. Anyways, if you want to keep your update here on Brad Keselowski, he's still looking pretty rough. Down in 33rd overall on the leaderboard, has still not made any progress. BK can just not figure out the Colosseum, man. He just cannot figure it out. He's going to have to hope he can use his bumper in the heat races tomorrow to somehow navigate a way into the main event. EJ, I know, I would love to see a Larson 500 win, but honestly, I don't think it's ever going to happen, man. But who knows? Maybe it will. You're thinking it's going to be Kyle? I don't know which Kyle you're talking about. Or Chase? A lot of people think Chase. So they're currently working on repairs to that 54, and they might actually have a shot at getting it out for qualifying later tonight. So we'll see what happens with that one. EJ2K Wick. How you doing? Oh, either one of them, yeah. Kyle Busch, yeah. Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott. Yeah. Sam Witch. Hello. How you doing? Welcome in. Welcome one, welcome all. Drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You know the drill. But yeah, as these groups have gone on, these rounds of practice have continued. We are not really seeing any actual uptick in these lap times. A lot of these guys have started to plateau. Yeah, a lot of their lap times have started to plateau and in the 1330s, 1340s. We'll see, though, once qualifying comes in about a half hour, that'll be interesting because it really is hard to get up to speed in just like 2 laps and actually lay down a quick time. You know, it's really just making sure you don't make a mistake on those first couple laps because then you just hurt yourself in terms of being able to build up speed to actually put down a quick lap. So, like, honestly, you could maybe put together just not necessarily the fastest time in the world, but if you don't make any mistakes in your, warm-up laps, then honestly, you just might have a shot at getting up there at the top 10, top 15, and that would give you pretty good starting position for your heat race the following day. There are 4 heat races, so the pole center is on pole for heat race number 1, and then, second for the second one, and et cetera, et cetera. So then 5th through 8th are on the starting second in their heat race, and then, 9th through 12th start third in their heat race, and it's the top 5 in each heat race that make it to the main event, and then the bottom 5 go to last chance qualifiers. So basically, if you can qualify inside the top 15, that would put you in a pretty good starting position for your heat race. Ideally, though, if you can qualify in the top 10, that's almost a lock for the main event. Just because it's so hard to pass, for you to lose 4 positions to fall outside the top 5 would be a pretty tall order on yourself to lose all that position. I got 50 people watching right now. I appreciate it. Make sure you drop a like if you haven't already. Let's get it up to 60 likes. I appreciate it. Almost at 1,000 viewers right now. I appreciate it. Oh, EJ too quick. Oh boy, wow, Mark. That's a low blow, man. Oh, the 20 car almost gets spun off the nose of the 4. It looks like he was trying to actually bail out to try and get out of the racing line, but the 4 basically ran him over. Man, that 47, it looks so cheesy. Like, it actually looks great. If it was on the hood, okay, that car would be actually one of the best schemes of the year. Oh my gosh. And Keselowski continues to struggle. He's 33rd overall. And now it looks like he's trying to simulate possibly a qualifying run, or like he's literally trying any line this racetrack has to offer, and he can just not find any pace at all. Just like that, though, we are over 1,000 viewers on the day. I appreciate it, guys. Brandon Panther, Kyle Larson's going to win Daytona? Hey, I hope so, man. I hope so. If you subscribe, maybe he will. It's actually scientifically proven that if you subscribe, your driver has a better chance of winning. There is no science behind that, but it's scientifically proven, according to me. Yeah, I'd say your notable drivers struggling so far, both Petty GMS cars, as well as Brad Keselowski and Kyle Larson. Those are, I think, are 4 big names that are struggling quite a bit here. All 4 of those cars outside the top 25 on pace right now. And so if they were to qualify there for their heat races, they would be starting in the back row or back 2 rows, and they would have to make up 3 or 4 positions even to just have a shot at making it into the main event. But we're seeing a lot of lockup here from these guys, which is similar from last year. But the thing just to keep track of is, we saw that 54 car actually go up in smoke. So for me watching, it's like you see a bit of smoke come out, and you're like, oh my goodness, are we seeing another fire about to happen? But no, it's just another lockup, But also even from a driver's perspective, now you'd probably be able to tell a little bit difference between maybe like engine smoke or, that type of fire, oil fire, and like, a tire lock. But, there's some smoke coming into the cockpit, and you're just like, oh, it's just my lockup or just something happening. You drive through it, but then all of a sudden, oh no, there's a fire in the cockpit. Okay, but that is going to end practice there. We'll go through your final results, and qualifying will be up next in just about half an hour. Thanks to everybody tuning in here so far. Actually, I believe that we are going to step away here in just a moment, and we're going to start up a second stream, so make sure you are looking out for that. So if you click on the channel page, we'll set that up here pretty soon. But yeah, your results here from practice. Truex out front, then Bubba Wallace in second. The Toyotas looked really strong. That's something to keep tabs on. Briscoe in third, but his car went into the wall in Group 2. We'll see if that hinders the performance of that 14 at all. Something unique about the way he's been driving this track is he's doing a lot of shifting. He was doing that last year. It looks like it's given him pretty good pace so far. In fourth, Bowman, who missed the main event last year, is looking to change his storyline at this racetrack this weekend. Blaney 5th, Gibbs in 6th. They're having to do extensive repairs to that car after that fire. We'll see if they can get it repaired in time for qualifying. Chastain 7th, Hamlin 8th, Gilliland with a strong run in 9th, as well as Haley, who was good here last year. Rounds out your top 10. Harvick in 11th, McDowell in 12th. Both FRM cars looking really good. Kyle Busch 13th, Byron 14th. Almirola rounds out your top 15. Then Bell, Reddick, Buescher, Elliott, Priest, top 20. Then Logano, who's your defending winner, has not shown amazing pace so far in 21st. And then Dillon, Suarez, Dinger, LaJoy, Larson, Jones, Stenhouse, Gregson, and Burton round out your top 30. Then you have your drivers who are really struggling. Basically, your top 30 are separated by literally 0.2 of a second. And then if you take a step back to Burton, it's another 0.5 tenth back, then another 0.5 tenth back to about Cindric in 31st. Then Ty Dillon is like 0.3 off the pace, as well as Keselowski. Then Ware and Ely about 0.4 off, and McLeod about 0.7 off. So, yeah, if you're outside of that top 30, yeah, you're really struggling right now. But that's about all I got for practice. Hey, Jerry Israel, I appreciate it. Stealth mode as well. If I missed you subscribing, I'm sorry. But thanks to everybody who has subscribed, up to 62 likes. We just got over 1,000 subscribers, or not 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 views. And we're up to 3,160 subscribers. Guys, I appreciate it. 40 away from 3,200. We've already gained about 20 subscribers today. I really appreciate it, guys. But we are going to be ending this stream here, and we will be jumping back live in about 30 minutes for qualifying from the Colosseum. I'm just going to go take a quick break. You're probably going to be able to find that stream with a quick search onto YouTube, or if you're already subscribed, you'll get a notification in your subscribers page. Or if you just click my channel and look around, and for some reason you aren't subscribed, you'll probably find it on there pretty soon. But yeah, thanks to everybody tuning in. I will be back live here in about 30 minutes.